Good afternoon and welcome to You and Your Business with me, Alec on 103.2 Dublin City FM. Each week, I invite an expert from the world of business to share their knowledge, insights and tips to help you with your business challenges. If there's a topic you would like covered, or if you feel you can make a contribution, please email me at yourbusiness@dublincityfm.ie and perhaps we'll be having a chat here one day soon. And my guest today is an award-winning filmmaker, video producer and agency owner. He's the creative director of Social Video HQ, and he's the host of the Marketing Hub podcast. I'm delighted to welcome Paul McDermott to the You and Your Business studio. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Alec. How you doing?
Fantastic. Video, what a topical subject to have on the show. I'm delighted we're going to have a good chat about that. But I am, before we start all of that, going to do the usual and take you back to your last year in school. And what was going through your mind? Were you the person who was going to travel? Were you the academic? What did you got planned?
The last year in school, like when you're 18, you know nothing about anything. So yeah, I was getting ready to go off and do a science degree, you know. Right. So that was on my mind. Turning 18, getting away from home, they were things, but there was no gap years around then. So then in my era, in the early mid 90s, it was do your leaving cert, and if you're lucky enough to get into college, off you went.
Sure. I mean, science and chemistry and all of that. Why?
I suppose from an earlier age, I had been a little bit interested in it, and obviously with your family and your folks and all that, to kind of go, yeah, that would be good. That'd be a good career to get into. And like thinking on now, if you look back at the careers that most of us are in now,
sure,
there were none of them in the past. There was no like video production as such, like there was TV but there was no video. And even IT wasn't all the plethora of jobs are there now. But at that time, it was a good area to go into, and I had that kind of inquisitive mind, and I was very into biology. Actually, I really enjoyed it.
It's amazing. If you had suggested even at that time, I think I'll go into TV, you'd be told, get a real job. You know, what are you thinking of?
There's no way you're going to get in there. Yeah,
no, not a chance. All right, so you were going to make a career out of science, but that possibly wasn't the case.
No, so like finished with a 2-1 degree on biology, but Ireland was not in a boom phase back then, so there was very few options. It was kind of like just it was either finish and do something else, or actually go on in college and do further education. So there was no actual science jobs that I could just rock up to at the end of college.
Right.
So at that stage, I went to the UK and went to London. I'd been over there a bit during my college years, and got into IT.
All right, cool. So that would have been in the early stages of IT.
Yeah, very much so. Like I started off, I was working for Hackney Council, and they were putting in new telephone systems, and that's how I got my first job. And then it was first line support, very simple stuff, you know, password changes and that kind of thing.
All right.
But it was just all starting out then, really.
All right, so you got in on the ground floor, but you weren't going to hang around there for long. You had other thoughts.
Yeah, I suppose an inquisitive and restless bit of by nature. I like a lot of people were going out to Australia at that stage for to do the year, and you could get the visa. So I got out of Europe for the first time, landed in India with 3 friends. First time outside of Europe, culture shock. Like that's like unbelievable. So, but traveled all over South Asia and Southeast Asia, and then Australia for a year, New Zealand for 2 or 3 months, and then back to Australia, and again back to Asia. So about 2 years in total. A lot of good traveling, and that culminated in me coming back to Ireland and trying out a different career.
I suppose I think it would be fair to say you would suggest to anybody around that age group, get out there, get out of Europe, go out to places like Asia and Australia and dip your toes.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think you can't really understand how people vary and how they are very much the same as well.
Sure.
Like until you get out there and see these different cultures, people are basically the same no matter where you go. But it's great to see these cultures and to see them up close and personal. And yeah, it really develops your worldview.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, so you've arrived back in Ireland. What's your sort of career path going to take you to next?
Well, I thought then sales, because I'm quite a outgoing person, and I enjoy the selling process. So I worked in sales for it was a Irish outlet of an American conglomerate. It was CD and CD duplication for Microsoft.
All right,
And
right.
we now CDs for Microsoft, again, an industry that's gone now.
Yes.
But I worked for them in Ireland for a couple of years. I learned a lot about sales. But again, I was getting the travel itch again. And
Right. Okay.
so from there, I went off to and lived in South America for about a year and a half, 2 years.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. That's not still on my bucket list, is get to South America.
Yeah, it's truly amazing. It's truly amazing. Like I lived in Buenos Aires for about 6 months, taught a bit of English there, and then traveled all over, right the way through Brazil. And one of my travel feats that I've, like, I always think of things that were amazing. I got on a boat in Belém at the mouth of the Amazon and went up to Manaus, and I continued by boat up to Peru, and then by road. Now this took months, but by road over the Andes, stayed in the Andes for a while, and then down to the Pacific. So I traveled across the widest part of South America,
Wow.
mainly by boat.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
We won't go into it, but I'm sure you had many challenges along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's it definitely, you're off the beaten path for travelers there, and yeah, but it was absolutely amazing. What an experience.
Did you do that on your own, or were you with a group?
I and bits I was traveling with a friend in South America, actually, but at that stage I just met a couple of people traveling, and I ended up traveling with them for a while, actually. One was a Peruvian guy, and yeah, it was a Peruvian guy mainly, and there was an English guy there for a while as well.
Yeah, it's amazing how you come across people and things in common, and how you form bonds that kind of work for you. It's a fascinating sort of experience in life.
Yeah,
that you'll always have with you.
absolutely, absolutely.
All right, so you can't be floating around the Amazon all of your life. You had to find a real job. So where was that likely to come about?
Yeah, so that's it. So you can, like you said, you can enjoy all these things, but then you got to come back, got to pay off those overdrafts, and you got to go, hang on, I'm now in my early 30s. What the hell am I doing, right? So I came back, and as a stopgap job, I was teaching TEFL, teaching English as a foreign language in Dublin, and that turned into a 5-year job. And I went on, I was teaching exam classes and doing exams with students, and at the same time, I saw a filmmaking course in Filmbase in Dublin in 2008, and on this course, a lot of professions came in. You learned about all the different facets of making a short film, and you also made 2 short films on the course, and I got to direct one of them. So you had to pitch to the class, and the class said, okay, we're happy for you to go ahead with this one. And like, I got the bug. Like, I truly loved it. It was so creative, working with a team. It was brilliant. And so from there, made some short films with friends, made my own ones, but learned that I really needed to learn more about things like editing, camera work, audio, lighting, etc.
Exactly.
So
so just to hold you there for a second, Just if you're joining us now, you're listening to You and Your Business with me, Alec, on 103.2 Dublin City FM, where my guest today is Paul McDermott. And we've now hit his sweet spot, his passion, which is about filmmaking, and fantastic. So now that you've got the bug and you've been involved in directing, now you decide, okay, I think it's time to learn the real skills that are needed behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, back then it was I got an old tape camera, like a Sony Z1 for those that know that are listening, and I got a PC and was doing simple jobs. Started doing weddings, and I actually built that into a full-time wedding business called Vivid Eye Wedding Video, which is just ceased trading actually, just up to the pandemic. But yeah, so through that, I was learning on the job, but like, you got to imagine that,
sure,
you know, now everybody learns from YouTube, but
yes,
back then it was like, you know, if you had questions, I was on message boards and the US message boards and all that. So it's a lot easier to learn these skills now.
I'll tell you what, and before that, it used to be the local library. So, you know, yes, people don't realize the access to knowledge and education that we all have today. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, the wedding business is a business that can be quite lucrative. I can understand there's a lot of challenges around it, but obviously it wasn't a passion. So you were going to start moving on to the other side of the business, the more commercial side.
Yes.
And also talk about these awards. I mean, let's hear about them, because I know everybody is always proud of their own awards, and they have a relevance.
Yeah, and I suppose they're in two areas. So apart from the weddings, the other area is in documentary filmmaking. So as I'd made short docs, I really zeroed in on really enjoying making short documentaries rather than short features and short dramas. Because I love the process. It's a little bit slimmed down as a medium, and it's really about the story. And so I got awards for two short docs. One was on an MMA fighter, and it was screened on Setanta Sports back in the day, and it got an award over in the Italian Sports Film Festival, which I got to go over to Sicily, and we were put up in a nice hotel in Palermo, which was great. And then the second one came. My name is. It was called Freddy the Leprechaun, and it came second in competition down in the Kerry Film Festival. So and then in 2017 as well, I was the Irish Wedding Awards Videographer of the Year. So yes, that was great for the business as well. But coming up to 2018, I was looking at creating a commercial brand, which is Social Video HQ. And I was trying to bring the experience I had got from the documentaries and from the wedding business into commercial videos. And around then, video was just taking off, you know, because like, if you look, Alec, you're on LinkedIn. If you look at in 2018, 2019, how many videos were you seeing in your feed, right? And just how much it has increased now, you know, maybe tenfold, I don't know, but it's crazy. So that's and that then 2019 was the start of Social Video HQ.
Yeah, fantastic. In terms of the two videos you made which were award winners, are they still available for people to see?
Yeah, there's a short. There is a trailer for the MMA one, and also the full, because it's a 5-minute one. Freddy the Leprechaun is on my website actually,
which is
socialvideohq.ie.
Fantastic. Okay, there's something. I'll have a look at that myself. Well, it's great. I mean, what we're all looking for is sort of the approval of our peers in terms of what we do, which can then elevate our business. So the fact that you had that, and also a nice one, interesting that like one area that you backed out of, which was the whole wedding thing, and having won that prestigious award. No, but it's just, but you're following your passion, which is why not? It's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Good. I suppose we're going to spend some time just talking about video and where it's relevant to business today, because there's so much happening.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to pick a starting point, but I will. Okay. Everybody has access to video on their phone. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah.
You know, everybody is a filmmaker today.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for some video producers, it's nearly like, oh, we don't want people to be making videos themselves. We want to make the videos for them, right? But actually, I think we have to reframe that, because there's just going to be so much video made. There's still more video being made by high-end video producers like myself,
sure,
than there ever has been. But also, there's people making videos with their phones, using great apps that are there, and it's just getting easier and easier to make them, and to make them look relatively good. And with the advent of particularly TikTok, I think, right. I think it's stripped away a lot of the need for it to be like highly polished and all that. I think if people find it interesting, it's interesting. So like the most important things is, can people see you and can they hear you? And then after that, you know, it depends on what type of video you're making.
And if you're just joining us now, you're listening to You and Your Business with me, Alec Drew, on 103.2 Dublin City FM, where my studio guest today is Paul McDermott. And just talking about video, because I remember having run a design and branding agency for 25 years, when desktop publishing came out, suddenly everybody is creating their own newsletters, good, bad, and indifferent. And then everybody had access to, you know, video, and people are suddenly becoming videographers, and then everybody's access to photography, and now they're becoming photographers. But what they seem to be all missing is the skills. They seem to think just because I can do it, that it's great.
And as well, so I think two things, there's two sides to that, right? There's number one, there's all these little things that incrementally change how good your video is, right? And basically, it's not that it has to have like Hollywood effects or anything like that. It's just that there shouldn't be things that are distracting or annoying to the viewer because you're taking them away from your content, right?
Yeah.
But the other thing is content, right? Content, because you can have everything set up and have it looking correctly and all that, but if it's not like stoppable, where people are scrolling, where they go, I'm interested in that, or that's really valuable information, or that's entertaining, right? Which is the other thing, where now we're going to have more entertaining, educational videos in the next year, infotainment, if you like. But if the content isn't right, then you have to start again, because that's the most important thing. What are you talking about? Will it interest or educate or entertain your audience?
And I think that's going to be a challenge for the industry that you're in the sense that, because people have access to all of this, and sure enough, taking quick snippets on TikTok and all of those, and little fluffy kittens and something entertaining happening around. But that's not a proper piece of short film. That's grand for a bit of entertainment.
Yeah.
But if you're in business, you need something a bit more serious. You need a storyboard. You need to have, you know, what are you trying to achieve at the end of it?
Exactly. And you also need to have content pillars, right? So you need, first of all, like, you know, you need to know who your target audience are. So that's where you sit down with the likes of yourself, Alec, where you would, you know, with an expert who works out the target audience. And once you've that worked out, like who you know exactly the type of person you're speaking to and what are their wants and their needs, etc., then you create a plan with the type of content that you want to make, and it has to come within different things. So I talk about three things that your content should hit. So it should show expertise,
yes,
credibility, and it should involve rapport building. Okay, and they're the three areas. So I would say, let's say if in a 4-week month, I'd say if you're doing a post a week, 2 posts in expertise, 1 in credibility, and 1 in rapport building. And if I just run through very quickly what they are, Alec, yeah?
Yes, of course. Yes, let's talk about that, because the audience will be interested in this. You know, our audience are mainly sort of business people, and I want them to leave this sort of interview thinking differently.
Yeah. So with expertise, what you're trying to do is set yourself up as a thought leader in your area, right? So this is for your social media feeds, right? Be it LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever. So you're talking about trends in your industry. You're talking about the most common questions that your ideal clients have, that they keep on coming to you, things that are on their mind, and you are giving that information so that you are becoming that person in their mind, like the video guy or the business expert guy or whatever, you know, in their mind. So when they have a need for your service, they'll come back, and you're becoming a resource for them online. So like even at the moment, AI is very big, right?
Yes.
And I'm doing a lot of research on AI and AI related to content and video and photography. And I'll be talking about that online, because I know my target audience, marketers and marketing managers, are interested in that, right? So that's just an example. Yes. And then credibility is a lot easier. It's your testimonials, your case studies. You show the work. You might tag in the clients that you did the work for, and they might come on and say, yes, it was brilliant. You know, this was a great piece of work, and that's social proof for you. Yes. So that's social proof for you. And
we talked about, so that's the credibility side of it, you know. So you had 4 pillars there. Hang on.
So let me talk about the 3 pillars. So with expertise, you're trying to become a thought leader in your area, and you're answering questions that your ideal clients have and that are on their minds. So you, in fact, are becoming a resource for them. And so that eventually, you know, in their mind, I become the video guy. Alec, you become the business expert guy. So when they have a need for our type of service or product, they will naturally come back to us, because they look at us as their go-to resource. Okay. Sure. And that's why expertise is so valuable to, you know, share. Don't hold things in, because a lot of people think, I don't want to give away information because people will do it themselves. People don't have time to learn to do these things themselves. No. You just need to know that you can do it, right? Yeah. And expertise shows that. The other pillar is credibility.
Right.
And with credibility, that's a lot easier, right? So it's you got your testimonials, case studies, show work, right? So often you can post them online, and often you can tag in the customer and say, you know, and they'll come back. I tag them in, but I also email them and tell them that I'm going to be putting it online, and they generally come back with a nice comment, and that is great social proof that you do the work that you say you can do to a good level, right? Yes. So that's your credibility. And the last piece, and this is the harder piece, Alec, right? This is rapport building, right? Okay. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get it so that people are forming a relationship about you and get an idea of the type of person you are, and working out whether they would like to work with you, right? You know, because we buy from people we like, we work with people we like. So video is a great way of doing this. And with rapport building, you are showing a little bit more about you that might be business related, right? So you might take a picture of yourself out for your morning run, and you go, you know, healthy body, healthy mind. This gets me going for my day's work. So you're showing a little bit of this guy's into running. He's not just a 2D person. We kind of know a little bit more about him. So like I actually have put photos of my dogs on LinkedIn, right? but there are a lot of dog lovers out there, and you're forming a little connection with them as well through that, right?
Sure.
And if I can just give an example, towards the end of the lockdowns, I did a little interview video with my wife, who, because we had spent the lockdowns working together from home for the first time, because generally she was off working in offices, she works in IT. And we just did a little interview about, about working from home, working during the pandemic, new home office culture. And like on LinkedIn, the engagement that we got was unbelievable, because we were speaking to people who are all in the same situation, and it got great engagement. And also it's given that more 360 view of the type of person you have, so that when you get on your first video call with that person, they'll already have an impression of you.
All right. I think that's good. Believe it or not, we're just at the end of the show. So in 30 seconds, can you tell everybody where they can find you? And if you've got a 10-second tip for them, far ahead.
Social Video HQ is my company, and it's socialvideohq.ie. You can find me on LinkedIn, Paul McDermott, and I have the Marketing Hub podcast as well. I just want to have one insight, is like the value of posting on social media. It's not all about, there are a lot of people out there who see your post but don't like or comment, right? I had one client who came to me. He told his wife, "Oh, I think Paul has some tips on video on his site." His wife went off and looked, and she saw that I did animations as well. He had forgotten or didn't know that I did animations. And then he went, "Oh, he does animations. We need an animation done for our company." And he came to me, and we've done a few animations for his company since. So
fantastic. That's great. Well, listen, that's a great tip to finish the show on. Special thanks to our guest, Paul McDermott, for coming into the You and Your Business studio. Thanks also to Sam and San. The podcast of today's show will be available on dublincityfm.ie from tomorrow. Thank you for your company. And please remember to join me, Alec Drew, again next week at the same time, 1 o'clock, right here on 103.2 Dublin City FM, for another edition of You and Your Business.